Welcome to Series 4 of the Women in Industry podcast. Today I'm joined by Hayley Lavery, who is a partner in corporate audit at Crowe. Crowe UK is a leading audit, tax advisory and consulting firm with a national presence to complement their international reach. They care about the clients and people. They care about building trusted and long-lasting relationships, creating opportunities to help clients to meet their goals and provide a rewarding experience for their internal team as well. And particularly here in the West Midlands, they are known and respected for championing the manufacturing sector. So thank you so much, Hayley.
Thank you for having me.
It's I'm sure some people would go, accountants aren't, industry, but you have so many clients who are in the manufacturing and engineering sector, and you really do work closely with the sector as a whole, even when those firms aren't your clients. I'm not a client, but I know you, I know Jonathan, and you really do bang the drum about manufacturing just being essential to the UK. So thank you for banging our drum.
That is okay. We will continue to bang that drum as is needed.
It's always needed. At least defence spending is probably going to go up. So,
Well, I know, yeah. We can talk about that shortly, but yeah. Absolutely.
But looking at you, so your career started in audit. And I know a lot of accountants. My brother is an accountant. Audit seems to be something that you either love or hate. You obviously love it. What is it that appeals to you?
Well, I mean, actually, I didn't start off in audit. I trained at a small firm of accountants in Walsall, local to me. So I did everything, bit of everything. So for my 5 years training, I was an all-rounder. And it was only once I qualified that I actually joined Crowe as part of the audit team, essentially. And that was, dare I say it, 20 years ago this year. My God. So it's been some time. So loving it is one way of putting it. But I guess the appeal for me is exactly what you've just said. It's the variety of clients. It's spending, we do spend so much time with our clients, working with and interacting with people of all levels within all shapes and sizes of businesses. And that's the real draw for me. And that's what audit gives you. And then aside from that, obviously just the general working in a team daily. So whether that's part of the audit team that you're working with, part of the department, the wider audit team as a department, and then obviously the firm as a whole. So everything is team driven. And obviously everyone's sort of prime goal is to help clients navigate the challenges and achieve their own goals. And that's what I find extremely rewarding. And every day is different for sure. So it keeps it, keeps the interest. And here I am, 20 years later, still.
Baby, such a baby.
It's got to be something.
Such a baby, 20 years. I can't remember my 20th anniversary. It was that long ago. It's one of the things that people who work in audit have sort of said to me in the past is just how many names they recognise. So they'll be at a client's and they'll be pottering about doing the audit and they'll go, oh, you buy from XYZ? Oh, right. Yeah. And then there'll be another firm and go, oh, you buy from ABC. And it's just seeing that interchange of goods and services as sort of like a spider web, isn't it? The more you do
and
it.
It's, the linkage of the whole supply chain, and it just goes beyond just ticking and bashing. Do you know what I mean? Which is obviously what the audit world is renowned for, with your red pen, your green pen. It's so much more and wider than that. And I think, that is critical, really, to the role, as you say.
So, in the introduction, I sort of mentioned that you bang the manufacturing drum, and it is essential to the West Midlands, to the UK GDP, to our future, to our growth. So what sort of percentage of your clients, how many of your clients are manufacturers?
I'd say about 70% of my client base currently are in the manufacturing industry or across varying subsectors. And being based in Albury obviously puts me in a really good position to be able to service the region with, like you say, that expertise in the industry, down into that granular detail and understanding the supply chain and everything that goes with it, to be able to service those clients. So
When you're sort of looking at sort of that 70% of your client base are sort of manufacturers or associated with manufacturers, as a whole, what sort of challenges and opportunities are you seeing that they're experiencing at the moment?
I think at the moment I'm continuing to see the demand within the supply chain is causing challenges. So, orders are just being pushed out that little bit further, just the delay, you're budgeting and expecting things to land and they're not quite. That's not to say that it's lost business, but it just, that seems to, that's what I'm seeing a lot at pretty much every client that I'm going to and have done in sort of the last 3 months. So that is a challenge. The cost pressures relating to energy and employment costs continues to be at the top of everyone's agenda.
Very large sticks to hit us with, yes.
And even though costs are falling or have fallen, they're still running at much higher levels, dare I say it, pre-COVID, that still keeps coming into the conversations. But it's true, and that's something that businesses are still having to navigate. And then I suppose the other thing, again, it's still there. It's the skills gap issue. It's almost like your businesses, the sector's got so much to deal with everything that we've just talked about. And then added to that, you've got the aging sort of workforce and the gap in skills that creates. And that is a big challenge, I think, still for the sector. And that's where investment in innovation is really needed. So that's what I'm seeing at the moment. Don't know if that's true of your business as well, Kirsty, but yeah.
I think sort of everybody I talk to, obviously, not only in the day job, but on this podcast and with the Women with Metal movement and the other organisations I'm involved with or I'm a director of, one of the things that we're seeing is this delay that you mentioned.
Yeah.
So obviously HS2 is a prime example of delay. We had lots of fanfare Q3 last year in 2025 about new nuclear builds and all of this, and yet nothing really seems to be moving on that, on the new nuclear plants. And then we're talking about the smaller nuclear that Rolls-Royce are getting involved in. And then there are all sorts of issues that came to the forefront with the JLR
and the knock-on effect of that
cyber issue and the knock-on effect of that. I mean, because they stopped producing for multiple weeks. And of course, their supply chain are SMEs. So it was just like, can't do
the impact
anything.
of that was much wider than anticipated. And probably some of the fallout is still rumbling on now, I would say. That is, the whole cyber is another level, isn't it, really? And that security around that, and just the impact and knock-on effect that can have all the way down the supply chain. It's incredible.
And I think, I mean, we all know, don't we, that you don't put all your eggs in one basket. So if you've got a customer, no matter how prestigious they are, you don't want to be doing any more than 20% of your order book for that person. But with the problem with large OEMs is quite often their SME supply chain will be doing 60 and 70% of their order book will be for that OEM. So when
and that's
they
just
start,
the reality of it, isn't it?
Yeah. We can sit there and do our shoulda, coulda, wouldas as long as we like. But the reality is it doesn't work like that.
No.
I think
it's not all bad though.
No. And all of those do come with opportunities.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Even
I think, you've touched on it already.
The sort of the high cost base, that gives you an opportunity to look at ways of being more efficient in other areas.
Well, yeah, and actually,
I think one of the things when we look at opportunities and challenges, quite often the media sort of bang the table about productivity, and productivity isn't good enough. But I think if we look at the SMEs, and your clients, us as an SME, you have to be productive, because otherwise you don't make any money. And if you don't make any money, you're not here.
No, it's as simple as that.
I seem to have lost you.
Oh,
let's just double check your mic. Could you say that again, please, Hayley?
Yes. So the reality. Am I back?
You're back. Hooray!
You might just need to cover that one again, Kirsty, because I think I might have lost you halfway through.
I can't remember what I said now. But no, there are opportunities, and
yes.
We talk about productivity, particularly the media, but the reality is SMEs have to be productive because you have to make money each month.
Yeah, and I mean, it is as simple as that. Quite simple. And obviously it does give an opportunity to, like you say, look at your costs, streamline where possible, and taking just the rise in employment costs and everything that came last year, businesses are now really thinking about whether, obviously natural wastage happens, but really thinking about whether that replacement is needed. So, that is a good thing in some ways. But I mean, you mentioned it earlier in terms of the defence sector, and what's coming out of the new industrial strategy. The UK manufacturing and our region is critical, as you've said, to the UK and global economy. So the investments that are being made into defence does create an opportunity for the supply chain, like, in a number of areas, the advanced engineering, assembly, fabrication. But for that to happen, innovation, I think, is key to unlocking some of this and some of the opportunities that are there. So we need to grab those. Absolutely.
You mentioned
I think I might have lost you again
as well.
We're having some technical difficulties here, aren't we?
We are. It's bloody technology. It normally does this when I mention AI, and I haven't mentioned AI once yet. But you mentioned the skills gap, and you at Crow host regional insight evenings for students. Not looking from the employer's point of view, looking from the student's point of view. What are the students telling you what they're looking for when it comes to their future career?
So the insight evenings, I think our sort of view on this is to not just provide, obviously, it's better for the student or, those who are thinking about coming into the profession to get more of a understanding of what's involved and, a bit of background, not only about the profession and the qualification, if I'm thinking about Crow as an accountancy and advisory firm, but also the firm that they're potentially looking to join. But it's an opportunity for them to bring along with them their parents, guardians, tutors, whoever it might be that they're bringing along with them. Because qualification in the profession, it's not easy, it's difficult, it's obviously meant to be difficult, and so having that support network in those parents, guardians, tutors, whoever are supporting them, is really, really important, because what the priorities that we're seeing of students today is around like flexibility, agile working. It's the work-life balance, which is a top priority, and just how much is that studying going to impact that for them, and also that they're from a well-being point of view, like that's the angle that the students are coming in and looking at things, as well. Us being able, or we seem to be asked more of now, to be able to demonstrate or give like a clear progression pathway beyond just the training contract or the apprenticeship. You know, it's what next sort of thing, and that's being considered like before they even step into the apprenticeship. So that's definitely up there as a priority. And then probably from my experience of being involved in the recruitment, it's all around the sustainability and ED&I initiatives, and they're really that's really highly valued. That's what I'm seeing from a Crow perspective. So yeah,
I think it's really interesting how it changes.
Yeah, definitely. It's sort of. It's much more than just the student. Yeah, it's much more than just the student. It goes beyond that. It is. They look at that. They want their family support, and they're making sure that they're making the right move, and drawing on people's experiences. It is much wider now. That's for sure.
But I think they're going to make really interesting leaders of the future, because they're looking at it in more of a holistic aspect.
Yeah, rather than just getting the qualification and getting me to the end of that, and maybe not, and sometimes not even thinking what next at that point. Do you know what I mean? It's like it is much more of a thought out process, is the feeling that I'm getting. But obviously, as a result of that, it almost feels like they're wanting just a bit more up front, and that's where I'm saying, like, we're having to demonstrate and think about beyond just the training contract, which is probably where we've been previously, and I would say other industries and firms have been as well.
Yeah, I would agree. It's definitely something we're seeing even as an SME, where people are looking for, what's the career progression, and that is what younger people coming into the industry are asking when they get the job. And obviously, as a sector, we are trying to attract and retain more women, more diversity overall. And I think the more we can articulate what they want to know, the more we can demonstrate that, the more we're going to get longevity of team members. But it's not just saying it and then not delivering it. You've got to deliver on it as well.
Yeah, you've got to back it up with something of substance. Absolutely. But quite wise, really, I would say, that they're a wiser outlook is the feeling that I'm taking away from that. So I would agree. Leaders of the future.
I think it's interesting because obviously you've been at Crow 20 years. I've been here, God, nearly 40, 37 this year. I am that old. So I learned from managers who joined the workplace in like the 50s and 60s. It was all very much top down, and you got yelled at and customers yelled at you, and there was a lot of shouting and pointing. Sort of in the 80s and 90s, whatever industry you were in. And I think as we've sort of taken over the sort of leadership roles, we were like, well, we didn't like being spoken to like that, so we're going to actively try not to do that. But that doesn't mean that the younger people who work with us like our leadership style. They're going to be looking at us and go, well, I don't like the way they do that, so I'm going to do that. And it's the evolution of seeing that is really quite interesting.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Yeah.
And talking about women in the workplace, particularly in the metal sector, so in March, you are a guest on the panel for the International Women's Day by Women with Metal in conjunction with Tag Network Midlands Women in Leadership that we're hosting between us. And how beneficial do you feel events like this are to the sort of the attendees, which of course men are very welcome. We have men registered for the event. We have a keynote speaker. There is going to be the panel discussion you're going to be part of, and that there is going to be other aspects of leadership addressed as well. So how do you feel that they're beneficial to the attendees?
Well, I mean, it's a platform, isn't it, for shared experiences. And so by default, it's encouragement, it's support to those who are aspiring to achieve their own personal goals, whatever that might be, and to see what is possible. So it's great to just have the opportunity to be surrounded by like-minded professionals and leaders in business, to be honest, and particularly those in industries which have historically been male dominated, and you're talking about, the leaders of the future and what they might want to see. And so having that platform, as I say, I think is critical to that. So hugely beneficial for the here and now, but for the future as well.
I think this is the first time that it's been done where, as far as I'm aware, that an industrial sort of sector like the metal and manufacturing sector has paired with sort of an organisation who, being Birmingham city centre based, predominantly have an awful lot of professionals, professional services. So sort of smooshing the two together should be quite interesting. That's the plan.
Yeah, and we need each other, essentially.
Yeah, we do.
So it is just, building each other up, really. And like I say, those shared experiences, I think, is critical. So really looking forward to it.
It should be really good. And I think the last time I saw you was at the Women with Metal conference.
That's right, yes.
And prior to that was at the UK Metals Expo, which of course in 2026 has moved to be with advanced engineering. Do you have a lot of contacts that you work with who really see advanced engineering as sort of the highlight of the manufacturing calendar?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously the turnout is always, and the support is always there, isn't it? So that is always something that we and will continue to be involved in. Absolutely.
No, I saw Jonathan there last time. I think we ended up in the bar afterwards, which what a surprise.
There's nothing wrong with that, is there?
Not at all, not at all.
It depends what time it was.
No, I ran and got a train. Okay,
fine.
I think they were going out for a meal, but I went home.
You politely declined that offer.
Yeah, well, it's an hour's train from Yenisi to my local train station.
Oh, wow.
And you sort of get to 7 o'clock, there's one an hour, and it's like, I'm going home now. Finally, Hayley, what's the best advice you've ever received?
Well, to be honest, something quite simple, really, and it's something that my dad always used to say to me, which was make it happen. And I mean, that can mean different things to different people, but to me, it's about pushing yourself to go the extra mile, taking yourself outside of your comfort zone, and basically setting yourself a goal and doing whatever you need to do to achieve it. And that's something that I have carried with me and continue to carry with me, like throughout my professional life and my personal life, and I apply it to everything that I do. So I would say that is the best advice that I've received. It hasn't done me too wrong, put it that way.
No, it hasn't, has it? But it's also really useful to remember, particularly when things are challenging,
Tough.
when it feels like you're slogging through mud, just to,
take a step back and
sort of take a bit of a run up at it. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Hayley. It's been a pleasure chatting to you.
Thank you, Kirsty. Sorry about the technical difficulties, but I think we smoothed it over. It's fine.
Definitely, technology is set to try us.
And on that note, I shall see you soon.
See you soon.